The distinguished senator from Missouri, Senator Blunt.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Murphy, and then I think I'll ask a similar question to General Milley. Senator Gillibrand and I and others recently introduced legislation, the Military Family Stability Act, the principal motivating factor of which would be for spouses who, for a job opportunity, their own career, or children staying longer or leaving earlier for education, that we'd have new commitments to be sure that worked. We're working with the department on that, particularly with the Army, to talk about what the exact amount of time might be to look at the impact this has on whether people stay in the military or not, and just your thoughts on that. We had in our initial discussion of that bill, we had really just persuasive cases of one spouse who her husband's going to be transferred from Hawaii to Fort Leonard Wood. She got in a PhD program at the University of St. Louis University. She got a teaching contract at another school nearby, Missouri Science and Technology. She needed to be there in August. They were going to leave in June. That was all fine until they didn't leave in June, and then they didn't leave in July, and then they didn't leave in August, and the entire cost of the move was the family move was needlessly, I thought, on them. So, Secretary, your thoughts on those issues generally and what we can do to make that system work better for families?
Senator, I will tell you, I applaud the efforts. The Military Family Stability Act is the type of legislation that is terrific, because it's two-fold. It's not just the right thing to do, but it also allows us to let our soldiers know the programs that are out there already. Right now, it is on a case-by-case basis. But when you look at an Army soldier, they have two families. It's the soldiers that they serve with on their left and their right, and their families at home that they're also responsible for. And we need to make sure that they're consistent. With the op-tempo that we've had since 9/11, so almost 15 years now, it's the families that have borne the cost and have been really stressed. And we were trying to do everything possible to make sure they know that we are committed as an Army team and as an Army family. So I look at that legislation, and I think it's a terrific example of partnering with the military and with the legislative branch to let them know that these programs are in place, and to make sure that we are articulating that and mandating that. And I know your legislation provides basically a 6-month window. Those are the type of things that allow us to focus on readiness, but take care of soldiers at the same time. So I look forward to working with you.
Well, thank you, Secretary, and we're eager to work with you on that too. And the legislation does say 6 months. If there's a persuasive argument that 4 months is a better number, we could certainly talk about that. But when General Odnero was the Chief of Staff of the Army, he made the very insightful observation that the strength of the militaries and military families, with everything families have invested, there's enough you miss already without needlessly creating stress. I don't know, General Milley, in your personal experience or what you've seen in your command and other responsibilities, your sense of how important it is we look at this differently than we have been?
I think it's a key readiness issue. It's not just a compassionate issue. It's a key readiness issue because about 60% or plus of our Army is married and on average have 2 children, which is different than World War II. World War II, 10% was married with children. So 60% of our force are married with children, and we've got to adjust the systems to manage the current talent pool that we have in this century. And if there's one thing that soldiers care about, it's their family. So if we want a soldier to be ready to focus on his combat tasks and training, or when deployed to focus on the enemy, then we owe that soldier to make sure that their family is being taken care of with good schools, good health care, the spouse has a job, and the Stability Act and the Family Act goes towards doing some of that. So I think it's very important, and I'm in full support of anything that helps Army families.
Well, good. We look forward to continuing. I know all the co-sponsors and the members do continue to work with you so that we come up with something that really works here. But as more spouses pursue their own professional career, as students often to either start when school starts or stay till school is over, Little things like this, I'm sure, make a huge difference in whether people maintain their commitment to the military. It only takes one or two bad situations for many people who are willing to serve to say, you know, I just can't continue to put my family through this for what appears to most people looking at the current situation to be often no good reason at all. So thank both of you for your comments on that, and thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Senator.